Good morning, brothers and sisters, or good afternoon, depending where and when you are watching this program. I am Pastor Matthew Delismede, the host of Rendez-Vous show that broadcasts on Brockton via YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It is a great honor to have you with us today. As you know, next week, on Tuesday, November 7th, will be held elections for some cities and towns in Massachusetts. Our guest today is someone that I can call a friend, someone who has been in the Brockton City Hall for more than 2 decades. First as a city councilor at large, and then as a mayor. He's a lawyer, a coach, a dad, a husband, a family man. He is running to be reelected for a third term. Welcome, Mayor Robert Sullivan, the mayor of a great city. It is always a privilege to have you in our show.
Pastor Matthew, I want to thank you so much for your kind words, and I want to thank you for, again, inviting me to be on your show. It's always an honor and privilege to join you, and I want to personally thank you for what you do on a daily basis to better the city of Brockton, our city of champions. So thank you, Pastor.
Very good, Mr. Mayor. First, let's start with the good ones. We got a lot of people watching us right now and on Brockton, on YouTube, on Facebook, and they well know about you, Mr. Mayor. And what exactly can you tell us, or can you tell the viewers, what have you accomplished? Because this is your second term and going for the third term. So what have you accomplished? Let's start by your accomplishment first.
Yeah, I want to thank you again, Pastor. And so, I'm running for re-election. This will be my third term if I'm successful. And, we've been working together when I took office January 6th of 2020. So it was about 6 weeks before the pandemic. And so in spite of the pandemic, we've been able to collaborate to continue to move Brockton forward, tackling the issues together, solving it together, creating relationships. So, development in the city of Brockton. Right now, if you drive around the city of Brockton, there's a lot of detours, and I know they're a burden, but it's progress. And, the detours are short term, but the progress is going to be everlasting. So, under my administration, working with a lot of different people on the state level, the federal level, the local level, we have 700 new housing units in the development right now, which is mixed affordable and also market rate. The reason why people are investing and building in Brockton is because we have 3 commuter stops in the city of Brockton, right? Transit-oriented development. So you can jump on the commuter rail, get into South Station in Boston in 35 minutes, or if you have a car, you could drive to Providence, Rhode Island in about the same time. So, there's a lot going on in terms of the money we've got, the American Rescue money, the ARPA money. I've used it to help Brockton long-term, right? We're doing a 5,000 square foot renovation at the Senior Center, the Council on Aging for our seniors, the War Memorial on West Elm Street to help our veterans, City Hall, the building I'm in as well, which is the most beautiful city hall throughout Massachusetts. We also have the new public safety building going on where the old high school used to be on Warren Avenue, and that's a $98 million project that we've already borrowed. I made sure we borrowed it early when the interest rates were low to save a lot of money for the city, millions of dollars over the term. And that new building is going to be a modern building housing 4 different departments, our police, our fire, our IT is going to leave Brockton High School, informational technology to free up classroom space for the boys and girls. And then Brockton Emergency Management, which is right now in the basement at the War Memorial, is going to come over to this new building as well. But also it's the new businesses that have been able to come here since I became mayor. We have the Brockton Beer Company downtown in Brockton. We have Cabo Vegan. We have Mi Niña, which left Needham, Massachusetts, to come to Brockton on West Chestnut Street. It's 20 new jobs. It's a $12 million investment for the facility. We have Porton dos Ilia, which is a really great Cape Verdean restaurant as well down in the Campello section. So, my view is this. I'm the mayor of everybody in the city of Brockton. It's an honor and privilege to represent 106,000 people that live in the city. We're a beautiful, welcoming, diverse community. We have wonderful people from Haiti and from Ireland and from Italy and from Angola and Nigeria and Cabo Verde. And we could just talk about what makes Brockton Brockton. But I will tell you this, as someone that truly loves Brockton, that's why I'm running again. You know, we run every 2 years in Brockton, but we need to continue to work together to, number one, take care of the residents that are here, try to attract new residents to Brockton. The same thing with the businesses, because at the end of the day, when you are the mayor or a city councilor, we serve the public. It's called public service. So I'm excited to continue to hopefully continue to be mayor of the city of Brockton.
A very good accomplishment. And Mr. Mayor, you're just talking about the construction. So I got a lot of people, a lot of Brocktonians, they complain a lot about those roads. So do you have, a time that will be, they will be over?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, the public safety building will be fully finished, and the ribbon cutting and the 4 departments will go in there. It's going to be the summer of 2025. So it's less than 2 years away. And the roads, again, we're not going to spend money on the roads until we know the construction trucks are done going on those roads, right? So they're called the Chapter 90 funds that we get from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So you know, in terms of development, it has been in the center of the city, the downtown area, but it's also expanding throughout. Across from Brockton High School on Belmont Street, there's a new Starbucks coffee shop being built. And up at Westgate, there's a new Bank of America bank building being built. So I understand, because I drive the city every day coming to work and, you know, doing my duties as a husband and father. But I can tell you this, unfortunately, right now, we're sacrificing a little bit in terms of time because of the detours and the construction, but it's going to be worth it. It truly is, because we are dealing with a renaissance in the city of Brockton right now. A lot of other cities wish they were Brockton because of what we're doing. And it's not me. I just happen to be the mayor, and it's my honor and privilege, but it's everybody working together, right? So it's the Montello Business Association, the Campello Business Association, the Downtown Business Association, Haitian Community Partners. It's just everybody working together. And so, you know, I agree with you right now, Pastor, that we're having some issue with the roads. We're also having some issues with the city in terms of trash, right? It needs to be cleaner. It needs to be a cleaner city. And then we're seeing an influx of people that are homeless, our homeless population. So there's a lot of things going on right now that we're really trying to deal with and tackle. And that's why I'm running again. If I walked away from the job, I just feel, number one, I wouldn't be doing my duty to the residents of the city of Champions.
Exactly, because while you were talking about trash, the homeless, and I was reading a paper the other day, and they classify Brockton as the worst city in Massachusetts.
Well, that was one thing that said that. But then just last week, another group called Oxio said that Brockton is the best suburb in the entire Massachusetts. So you take the good with the bad, I guess.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's great. And but for the people who classify or who have that view for our city, the bad view, what can we do?
Well, I think that the number one thing is to tell our own story, right? I mean, people for generations have come to Brockton from all around the world to come to Brockton for a better life for their kids and their grandkids, right? It's always been a melting pot of hardworking immigrants to Brockton. My own grandparents came from the country of Ireland to work in the shoe factories here. And so people kind of laugh at me. Well, you know, Mayor Sullivan does a lot of flag raisings. Yes, I do, because I want to honor every country and the people that come to Brockton from those countries, right? And that's what makes Brockton such a special place. So, you know, we need to continue to honor and respect those that have come here, but also attract more people here. So one thing is Brockton is a business. We're in the people business. The budget is $500 million. And so since I took office, we're trying to market it like a business. So we have a new slogan, a new marketing campaign called Where Better Begins, Brockton, Where Better Begins. And so, you know, we are working with all the different nonprofits in Brockton, the medical facilities. Now, Brockton Hospital, again, had that serious fire, so it's still closed, but every Monday, I work with Brockton Hospital to get an update. We're working with the congressmen, the U.S. senators, the state delegation as well in Beacon Hill. So, you know, I can only tell the story of Brockton that I know. And if people come to Brockton, they realize it's a really special place. We have DW Fields Park, right? We have the Brockton Rocks baseball team. We have a new professional baseball team coming this spring to Brockton as well. So there's going to be 80 baseball games up at Campanelli Stadium. We have, just different parks and, that Cosgrove pool on the east side of the city of Brockton. For many people, that city pool is considered the beach, right? People can't go to Cape Cod or Nantasket. They go there, and there hadn't been any money spent. So I went down to Washington, D.C., 2 Aprils ago, and I met with Congressman Lynch and U.S. Senator Markey, and I said, we need more money. They gave me $3 million more from President Biden's bill, the omnibus bill. So we're using $3 million of the omnibus money and then another $3 million of ARPA money. And the East Side pool next summer is going to be a splash park and family friendly and a better pool and breaded greenery. So the story of Brockton is the people that live and work in the city of Brockton. And I just happen to be the mayor that is trying to work with everybody.
As you know, it seems like every time people open the papers, the newspapers, or watching the news, Brockton always in the news, most of the time for the bad reason. As mayor, what can you do regarding the violence, the crime that's going on in our city?
So one thing that we've been working on is ever since the pandemic, the mental health and behavioral health issues are off the charts. And so as mayor, I work, and you know this because you're a religious man and as a pastor, I've always worked with the pastors. The first day I took the oath of office as mayor, I met in the office and we recited the Lord's Prayer. And as a Christian, we come together and we continue to pray every other Friday at 8:30. The pastor's reach is much farther than I. So, I think what we can continue to do is to understand that we're a city of 106,000. We're the only city in Plymouth County. And with cities, towns as well, but with cities, you have crime. So it was an honor to appoint Brenda Perez as the first female police chief in the history of Brockton. She grew up in Brockton. She went to Brockton High School. I went to Brockton High School. I appointed the fire chief, Brian Nadelli. He grew up in Brockton, went to Brockton High School. And I only tell you that story, pastors, because we know what a special place Brockton is. But in terms of the drug activity, we're dealing right now with an epidemic. People are dying every day throughout the United States of America because of illegal drugs and legal drugs and fentanyl and oxy and all that stuff. So it's working with Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. It's working with Father Bill's Mainspring. It's working with BAMSI. It's working with all the city hospitals, but also the VA hospital. We have a lot of veterans that are dealing with it. So I don't have all the answers. I wish we had a magic wand and we could cure every ill tomorrow. We can't. But I can tell you that they're not necessarily telling the great things about Brockton on the news, right? The fact is, last year from Brockton High School, we had 4 of the graduates go to Ivy League schools. We had 2 of them go to Stanford University in California, one of the best universities in the entire world. Those are the stories. Those are the Brockton kids, the boys and girls that I know as someone that has coached soccer and baseball and basketball in Brockton. I feel really good about the next generation of Brocktonians. We have some really great boys and girls that are trying to make a difference in the world. And, as mayor, that's my whole goal, right? We need to make sure that people feel safe in the city of Brockton. That's why we've hired more police officers. We're also working with our state police and the federal agencies to make sure Brockton's safe. But, there isn't a cure for all criminal activities. But I have to say, a lot of the folks that are committing crimes are also dealing with substance, alcohol abuse, drug abuse. So we have to try to figure out how we can provide the services that people need.
I can tell you that, Mr. Mayor, I've been in Brockton for the last 24 years, and this is my city. This is where my son grew up, and I love the city. I love Brockton, and I'm very proud. And to say wherever I go, I am a Brocktonian. I'm from Brockton, but most of the time, people always look me down because I said I'm from Brockton. But, I know this is my city. I know we are a great city, the city of champs. However, the other day, someone was asking me regarding what's going on in our education system in Brockton, regarding our deficit. But, every time you say to someone you're from Brockton, they always come up with something. Can you clarify that problem, the deficit of 14 million, something like that? So
Yeah, I
what
mean,
can you say about that?
yeah, I mean, I could tell you that we are trying to figure out where were the system failures, like how did that happen, and then take corrective action. And as a member of the school committee, I chair the school committee by being mayor. You know, we're hiring an external independent audit firm. There's going to be an investigation, figure out what was the root cause of this, and ultimately, whatever the investigation shows, it's going to show. And you know, we have to take a proactive approach to make sure that this can never happen again. And then, in terms of what you said, Pastor Matt, I experienced the same thing. I went to Boston College many years ago in the 90s, and when I would tell people I was from Brockton, Massachusetts, they'd look at me like I was a bad person. And so, you know, what I can say is that we're seeing a lot of people moving to Brockton, right? Because it's more reasonable to live in Brockton than Quincy and Braintree and South Boston and Charlestown and Dorchester and Cambridge. And people are moving to Brockton because they can also jump on the train, like I said, and go back to work. So, you know, the story about Brockton has always been our education system. Brockton High is one of the largest public high schools east of the Mississippi, right? When I went there in the 80s, there were about 5,000 kids. But we also have 65% of the student population at Southeastern Regional Vocational Technical School from Brockton. They go to Southeastern Regional to learn about the trades, right? That's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful school. We also have New Heights Charter School, Brockton-based kids going to the charter school. We have the parochial schools, right? We have Catholic Trinity Catholic Academy, but then in high school, it's Cardinal Spellman. We also have the Seventh-day Adventist on Court Street. So education, and I'm the son of a retired Brockton history teacher, so education is paramount, right? And I met my wife in the Brockton Public Schools, and my father-in-law used to be the deputy superintendent of schools, and my mother-in-law was a teacher at the Kennedy School, and one of my sisters is a teacher at the Brookfield School. So I can tell you that the whole thing about Brockton Public Schools is to provide a quality education for the boys and girls, and also a great environment for the staff. So, you know, there's a lot of different education opportunities in Brockton. We have Massasoit Community College, but we also have a relationship with Bridgewater State and Stonehill College. A lot of people don't know this, but there's an agreement with the city and Stonehill. Some kids from Brockton go to Stonehill for free. There's an agreement. So, you know, I just want to tell you that higher education and high school education, and even middle school and elementary school, I'm a parent of 3 kids. One of my kids goes to the Brockton Public Schools. And so, you know, it's important to realize that we can't change the belief of people that look down at Brockton. I think they're missing the opportunity to really understand what Brockton is, the history of Brockton, the fact that we were a stop on the Underground Railroad, and Frederick Douglass was here, and William Lloyd Garrison was here preaching the evils of slavery at the Liberty Tree, the Sycamore Tree, downtown on Frederick Douglass, or the fact that, you know, Brockton was the first place in the entire world where there was a downtown department Santa Claus, and Mr. Edgar Davis was Santa Claus. Thomas Edison was right across the street at City Hall for 2 years, the first electrified fire station, first electrified movie theater, first electrified streetlight, Brockton, Massachusetts. So, you know, what I've always been told growing up is you have to learn from the history, from the past, to forge ahead to the future. And so Brockton's future is extremely bright. It really is. And, you know, I can't change the philosophy of people that don't like Brockton, but I think they don't understand Brockton. It's a special place to live and work.
I read about them, and I'm very, very proud to be a Brocktonian. Because of the show, people seeing you all the time in the show, and whenever they see me, it seems like I am like kind of whatever complaint they have, it just bring it to me.
Sure.
And the other day, I got a friend of mine just asking me, what can you say to the mayor about the property taxes? Why it is so high like that? I said, hey, I don't know. The mayor will come to my show, so I will ask that. So, what can you say about that?
Yeah. No, I can, because I mean, I'm a homeowner in Brockton as well. My wife and I, and property taxes. I mean, unfortunately, our assessment has gone up. I mean, in Brockton right now, there are Campanelli houses selling for $500,000 right now.
Yeah, I know.
There's triple deckers selling for close to $1 million right now. So, you know, the values are going up because the real estate market is up. And when your property value goes up, your assessment goes up, your taxes go up. So it's kind of a slippery slope, because you want your value to go up, right? Because you buy your house at a certain value and you want to get equity into it, right? There'll be a time in life that you'll probably sell the house at some point, you know, to downsize. But the tax assessment, it's analyzed every year. We have a city assessor. We also have an external consultant called Tyler Technologies, and they look at all the properties, residential properties, also commercial properties, and they reevaluate every year. Most properties go up because the assessed value goes up based upon the actual value of the real estate. At times, you know, when there's a real estate market dip, values go down. But the actual cap on Proposition 2.5, you can't go over the 2.5% on the levy. So to answer your friend's question, you know, I feel his pain. I pay my taxes as well. But I will say this, as a homeowner, what's exciting about the amenities we get from Brockton. Every Thursday, where I live on off of Rockland Street, I put my trash on the curb. On Thursday, they pick it up Friday morning, right? And I could put one bulk item out there. And then every other week, although starting this week, you can put your yard waste out every week. You know, some cities and towns, you have to go to the dump. You have to put it in your vehicle and drive it somewhere. We don't have that in Brockton. And I know that if someone's sick in my house and I call 911, I'm going to have police and fire come to my house immediately. So, you know, it's a city. The taxes are going up because of the values going up. And that's just the truth of how it is right now in Massachusetts.
Now the pandemic is gone. What can you tell us about the health system in Brockton?
Yeah, well, the pandemic has been determined to be over, but COVID is not gone. We still have COVID cases in Brockton. I've actually had some of my own team members in my office come down with COVID recently. My brother, who lives in a different state, came down with COVID recently. So COVID is not gone, but it's much more manageable, right? People are getting vaccinated, and it's a different form, I think, of the COVID-19. But Dr. Eno Mondesir, who's also a pastor, he heads up our Board of Health. I still have Dr. Rick Herman, who's our medical consultant. He's on a limited basis now because COVID has decreased. But what we have seen, we've seen an increase in tuberculosis cases, TB cases right now in Brockton. We have about 10 of those cases in Brockton. Usually we see, you know, 4 or 5. So there's a little bit of an uptick on TB. There's also, you know, an uptick in some other, you know, ailments. Right now we're doing flu vaccines as well, vaccinations for flu. The biggest thing is that because Brockton Hospital is still closed, the influx of patients are going to the emergency room at Good Samaritan Medical Center and also South Shore Hospital down in Weymouth, but mostly Good Sam. And so we're seeing a long delay. I work with the hospital administration's pastor on a regular basis, but I will tell you this, speaking to you today, on October 31st, 2023 is much better than last year and the year before, because we were talking about loss of life because of COVID and people dying and the sick count. And you know, unfortunately, we did lose almost 600 people to that pandemic, but we've turned the corner. But I am asking people, you know, if you believe in vaccines and you're interested in vaccines, I just got my flu shot the other day through the Board of Health. So, you know, flu shots are available right now. The COVID vaccine is available now as well. So, you know, just be safe for yourself and for your family.
Mr. Mayor Robert Sullivan, I know the time is running out. I know you're a very, very busy man, but you got the mic. This is your spot. So tell the people of Brockton why they should re-elect you for the 3rd term. Tell them why.
I will. First of all, I want to thank you. I consider you a really unbelievable public servant, a man of faith, and a true friend of mine. So I want to thank you, Pastor. Again, I'm Robert Sullivan. My job is mayor of the city of Brockton, and it's an honor and privilege to represent everybody that lives and works in the city of Brockton. And next Tuesday, which is November 7th, the polls are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm a candidate for re-election. And why I'm running again is because we're moving Brockton in the right direction, right? We've created the stepping stones for success. And I want to continue to work with everybody to keep going, right? We have to keep sending it in the right direction for the city of Brockton. And so, again, if people will go to the polls, if you would consider casting a vote for me to reelect me, I would be honored. I continue to work with you because I work for you. And that's what it's about. It's about working for everybody for a better community, a better city. And, again, next Tuesday is an important day. If you are a registered voter, please go out. People have died for democracy. They've given their lives for democracy, the right to vote. So again, I would ask you to consider going to the polls next Tuesday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if you could consider voting for me, I will continue to work with you. And I truly thank you, Pastor Matthew. God bless you and your family.
God bless you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you so much for the time.